Hello again. This is going to be a fairly short video, even shorter than usual, that is to say. I cannot help but notice that 20 years ago, one hardly ever heard the word hate being used in connection with other people, except occasionally by children saying, "Well, I hate you." Most adults, though, might say, for example, that they hated custard or hated being stuck in traffic, but very seldom would you hear somebody declare his hatred for a group of people or even an individual. I honestly don't think that I've ever heard anybody say, not even the 60s or 70s, "I hate homosexuals" or "I hate black people." It's just not the sort of thing that people said. Somehow, though, the left-wing and progressive element in society has co-opted the word and brought it into general usage in this context, so that we now have laws relating to hate speech and hate crime relating to ethnic minorities, homosexuals, various other groups. From all that I can see, these laws are not really used to tackle people who hate certain groups at all, but more those who make jokes about some people or perhaps find them a little irritating. One remembers, for example, the man the other year who quoted a limerick about transsexuals on Twitter and received a visit from the police, who talked about hate crimes. In this case, there was no reason to think that the man hated transsexuals or anybody else. He had made a joke about them, and that was enough. I have seen many instances of this lately, and I'm sure that viewers have as well. And hatred never really seems to be involved. We saw an instance of this morning when I posted a video which alerted people to the fact that they should treat with caution the idea that black people had lower IQs than those in Europe or Asia. I explained exactly why they should be a little careful about believing this, citing the very small number of researchers who made such claims. Most people would have thought that I was being fair and even-handed about this, and I cannot for the life of me see how anybody could conclude from watching that video that I hated black people. Nevertheless, there soon came a comment, using of course the word hate. Somebody commented saying, "Your constant harping on about black people being less intelligent, more prone to violence, etc., etc., should be exposed as being hateful and not something that should be brought up time after time." Now, this is very weird indeed. Nobody watching the video could have seen any hatred in it, but the person who made the comment then revealed that he hadn't actually watched the video, which might go some way towards explaining why he made this comment. But let us assume, just for the sake of argument, that I did believe that black people had slightly lower IQs on average than those from Europe. Why on earth would this make me hate them? I am of average intelligence, which means that about half the people I meet are probably more intelligent than I am. It also means that perhaps half the people I meet are less intelligent than me. Do I hate those people? Why on earth would I? That really would be nuts if I hated half the people in the street simply because they happened to have a slightly lower IQ than I did. What possible reason could I have for hating a person whose IQ is 5 or 10 points or even 20 points lower than mine? I don't get it. I wondered, all those who have a higher IQ than me hate me. I wonder why they would. And yet, there it is. Talking about such things is hateful. This really is a bit peculiar, if you want my honest and unbiased view. Of course, there's another point here. The man commenting said that it is hateful to talk about possible differences in intelligence between human populations and not something which should be brought up time after time. Why? Does this mean that he thinks that the idea is wrong, or does he believe that it might be true but would be hurtful to others if talked about? I think personally that abandoning the word hate and using it much less would be a really good idea, but I can't see that happening anytime soon.